Alrighty, welcome back to Mike's Garage, and what we're looking at is an empty engine bay, and we're gonna get to why the engine bay is naked right now. As you can see, I've done some other mods like removing the core support and making that boltable, bolt in, bolt out for quick and easy access of removing the motor as well as the trans while they're still mated. So this will be the first episode of the build series, and we're going to be going over some stuff, but basically what we're going to accomplish in this video is, for those of you who don't know, this car is a 1986 BMW 325e, and basically right here I have the main engine harness draped over the side, and I'm going to be removing it to swap it out for the 325i wiring harness. Because I have an aftermarket computer, I'm running a Mega Squirt ECU, and the stock harness will not fit with the new computer, and I'll show you what I mean afterwards. But basically, we're going to get into why I pulled my engine, and simple steps to do things like what I'm doing. So yeah, let's get right into it. Right, so right now we're going to kind of address the elephant in the room here. As you can see, naked. If you're wondering what that background noise is, that is my head mechanic Bruno. Don't know what he's looking for, but that's him. Alright, so engine. Where we at? I got the trans thrown off to the side right there, and here's the motor. And it runs and everything, but after about an hour, collective runtime of about an hour, my rear main seal failed and started leaking oil everywhere. I don't know if you can see it, but on the bottom here, there's just a little bit of oil still there, still kicking. Just got this towel over here because I do have my valve cover off and I don't want to damage anything. For those of you who are wondering, heavy duty rocker arms, ARP head studs, and an aftermarket strict cam. I have in one of my other videos of what it is, but it's basically just a mild cam, so when it does run and idle, it actually does chop a little bit and it sounds pretty good. But the valve cover's off because I painted it right there. I painted it gold, very similar in color to my rims. But yeah, that's that. So, pulled this out to do the rear main seal. Thought it would be a little too difficult to remove the trans from underneath the car and do it that way. And the reason for that is because there's actually a plate. You can see I have all the bolts out, but this plate on the back of the motor here connects to the oil pan. And so I was afraid that if I put this back on, I wasn't going to do a good job with the RTV, so I pulled it all out. It's also a good excuse to really make sure I give this thing a once-over. But yeah, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this stock ECU out, so we can get ready to do the harness swap, and it should be pretty simple for right now. There do have other supporting mods if you're going to be doing something like this. So basically, what I will be doing is I have a wiring harness in that box right there from a newer model 325i, and the I had the 2.5. This was a 2.7. So configured differently. For example, I don't have my flywheel on. The 325e, which is this block, had the crank position sensor located in the bell housing. Let's go over there and look at that. Right there, crank position sensor in the bell housing. And it read that off of the flywheel. Alright, so crank position sensor for a stock 325e located inside the bell housing, and the reason for that being is because the 325e has a pin on the flywheel like this. Now, this is an aftermarket flywheel. It's a JB Racing aluminum flywheel. Weighs about like 8 pounds. I think the stock one was maybe like 18 or 20 pounds. Then I have a Clutchmasters FX400 right there. Should hold all the power I want to make, but that's that. For new supporting mods, I have the trigger wheel from a 325i, because before this was just a normal crank pulley without this, the gear here. And I also have the bracket because now this is where we will be relocating the crank position sensor to. So it's pretty easy. There actually is already 2 provisions in the side of the block to bolt that bracket to, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I got this new wiring harness here. Let's pull it out and then we'll take a look at the old one inside the car. Alright, so I got this glove box drop down and this little panel off. This is the motronic ECU. It says it. Here we are, passenger side. So just got to unbolt the computer so I can disconnect this because it's pretty taut right now. But I'm going to go ahead, disconnect everything, take this out, and feed the new one through. So stock harness is, it's out, obviously. It doesn't belong here. You know what I'm saying. It's done, empty, gone. Garbage. So I have the new one there. There are a couple differences. As you can see, these connectors, this is the stock harness. There was this connector that went into a little module, a green module. I'm gonna have to look that up and see what it is. I have no clue. That was for the light in the glove box, and I don't know what that little one goes to. And then obviously here's that grommet through the firewall. If you look at the new one, all we have between the grommet and the ECU connector is these 2 black connectors, which I don't have inside the car, so I don't know what they go to. So that'll be fun. I did buy this used off of eBay, so I'm a little worried because I'm seeing stuff like this. It's just the outside of the harness is cracked. The wires seem to be okay as of right now. You know, obviously we'll have to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best, but so that's where I'm at right now. Oh, I see where it failed. I see what seals failed. Causing leak. Makes sense. Awesome. Right here we got the back plate for the rear main seal. This being the rear main seal, this is the plate that holds it on. You know, from the front, everything looks fine. But if you flip it over, you will see right here, it actually split right where my finger was. So when I pulled this out, it was folded over like this, and I'm sure that is what caused it to leak. So unfortunately, I do have to replace it. You know, it is split right where my thumb is. Kind of hard to see it, but it did rip. Unfortunately, I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, but that's the seal I got. And I'm no rocket scientist, but that ain't gonna fit. I think I accidentally ordered a camshaft seal, not a crankshaft seal, so that's fun. I did double up and get a couple of the gaskets for this back plate, but I'll have to wait to order this. And that's the whole reason why this is all naked. Again, gotta do the harness swap. As you can see, I already have the trigger wheel on, and I thought it was very cool on how this is a 325E block. So I already went over this, but the crank position sensors and the bell housing of the trans on the 325i, it's off the front. This already has the provisions for the bracket for the sensor, and it wasn't even meant for it. So I thought that was kind of funky, but it literally bolts right up. I have the bracket right here, tiny little bracket, goes on like so. Well, I have it backwards. Goes on this way, holds the sensor in, and that's how we get that signal. Pretty sweet that, you know, it's already got this. I thought I was going to have to drill into this, and I wasn't nervous, but, you know, I definitely wanted to make sure I was doing it right, but that worked out pretty good. Waiting on parts. then we can button this up, start putting it back in. So I gotta get a new valve cover gasket because I chooched that one, taking it off. Everyone knows that's just RTV. And I did goof for the rear main seal. I ordered cam seals, not the crankshaft rear main seal. But yeah, overall I'm pretty pleased with this new engine stand too. Works great. It's super easy to crank. I think this motor weighs between 200 to 300 pounds without the transmission. It's got the rotating assembly, you know, obviously in it. It's a long block assembled, so yeah. So, did a bunch of stuff off camera. Obviously we're looking at a pretty well buttoned up motor. I have the new trigger wheel up front. I got the oil pan back on, rear main seal back on. Everything's back on my new engine stand here, so we can spin this forward and we'll get that big old turbo in the frame here. Everything's mounted up. Every time, this engine's been in and out of the car a few times already. It's now easier because I did the removable core support, but I've never put it in with both of the manifolds on, with either of the manifolds on, so we're going to try that this time. It's a lot easier to put them on when the engine's on the stand, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the flywheel and the clutch on, and then after that's transmission and back in the car. Got clutch, flywheel on, everything's mounted up still. Came right out, see if it goes back in. Yeah! Okay, so I gotta put that little plate on underneath for the transmission. I have to pull the transmission out and mount it to the motor. And here it is. I actually have new trans mounts. These little rubber dealy whoppers. Throw the new ones on real quick, then throw this onto the trans, then mate the two together, and then in they go. This is the old harness. Get out of here. Don't need that junk where we're going. That is the new orifice for the new harness. Old hole, actually, I lied. That's where that's coming through. Mega squirt's already in the car. Throw that in, fill it up with fluids, start plugging stuff together, and we'll be good. Time has gone by. It was just easier to get this done off camera, but she is in. Motor mounts buttoned up. Transmission, oh, you can't see it, but it's there, alright? Just believe me, it's on. No Bluetooth garbage. It's all done. The next step for the next episode will be doing the wiring, hooking everything back up. I thought I bought the proper sensor for the 325i, but I could have sworn I ordered it from FCP Euro. I can't find it in here, so maybe I didn't, and I thought I did. I don't know. So yeah, put the removable core support back in, button the whole front up, and that'll be next episode. It'll be running. It will be running, and hopefully should be making some boost. I gotta, clock the turbo, get the piping to come through. It's actually gonna come on this side, and it's gonna go right into the, wow, forgot how to speak English. Going right in the intercooler, coming around to throttle body. And that's it. That'll do it for this one, guys. We're done. Got it in a pretty good spot, so yeah. Till next time, peace.